Hey guys, Takuyasugi here. Going to be doing a review today on Mr. Shifty. So this is a game I was interested in since PAX South. I saw this at PAX South and it was just like consistently occupied on the setup. So I never got to try it, but I got to get a good look at it. I watched someone else play and it looked really entertaining. It looked like Hotline Miami, which I did enjoy immensely. And I was really interested in playing it. So I finally waited, it finally came out, and I got it here, and I'm going to do a little review on it. I played through the whole game, so I have gone through it. I haven't beaten it twice. I haven't probably discovered all the secrets or anything. But yeah, this game, it is fun. It is a lot of fun. The teleportation is the main gimmick of the game. But don't let that fool you. It's not like the only thing about it that's really interesting. There's a lot of interactivity with the environment. So I mean, you can have enemies shoot each other. You can throw things at enemies. There's some interesting weapons, which we'll try to get to in a little bit here. I'll bring up the clip. But for now, I'm just doing the intro here, and I've already recorded this. This is a pre-recorded gameplay. Usually, I like to do these things live, but I feel like this would be easier. I wanted to enjoy the game. I just recorded it while enjoying the game at my own pace, so I might skip ahead here and there. You see a guy fly out the window there. There's some neat environmental kind of kills in the game. You can use everything in the game against the enemies. So like their bullets will kill each other, their grenades and all that kind of business will kill each other. So enemies so far, you can see they're not very varied, but they pace the introduction of new enemies very consistently. I wouldn't say there's any boss fights in the game though. I think an introduction of boss fights would have been kind of interesting. I think there might be one kind of boss fight. I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but of course you would expect at least one boss fight in the game. But it was a little bit anticlimactic with the well, I'm not going to go into details about that. It's going to be spoiler free for the most part. As far as the game, the sound in the game, the sound feels very satisfying. The crunches, the booms, the explosions, the gunfire, everything sounds very nice in the game. The music, it's not Hotline Miami par, I would say, but the music is pretty acceptable. I found myself kind of, getting hyped up by the music quite often. So I did enjoy the music quite a bit. As far as the story goes, this is like a bare bones kind of story. So I mean, they don't give you much background on the guy you're playing as. The most you got to go on is that he's a thief from the villain there. I don't think you've seen the villain yet. But the villain, he basically calls him a thief, and that's what the description of the game is, I believe, as well, that you're a globe-trotting thief or something like that. I'm not too sure, even after playing the game. And you've got this this lady on the intercom named Nyx, and she's kind of strange. She's not very, she's got some weird moments. Yeah, like she gets really close up into the mic and says, "Incoming," or "I'm so smart." Okay, maybe not, because she screws up sometimes. But yeah, as far as story, you don't got much of a story. The difficulty of the game, I would say the difficulty of the game is, it's challenging in some parts. I gotta say it's challenging in some parts, but I didn't find myself really dying more than 100 times. So I would say the most I died in a stage was around 28 times. So I don't think I ever got past about 30 deaths in the game. So I learned it's not super difficult, but it's difficult enough where it challenges a player like me. Maybe you're not as good as me, or maybe you're better than me. If you're better than me, you'll probably still die a few times just learning some of the ins and outs. But I'm sure if you played the game again and you want to do a no kill or no death run, I'm sure you could get away with that and work with that and get no deaths, get perfect scores on each level. It can be tricky, but you can do it. And I think it's worth a replay. It's pretty good fun. It feels satisfying. The combat's very satisfying. I was very surprised at how satisfying the combat is. I felt great zipping around the maps and stuff and just punching people, and I found myself kind of just using my hands, even though there was other stuff to use in the environment more often than anything. And there's one thing that kind of puzzles me about the game. Maybe this guy has a no gun rule, but I mean, if you can use everything in the game, like swords and lightning, statue bolts, and all that kind of stuff, I don't see why this guy can't just pick up a gun once in a while and shoot people with a gun, Hotline Miami style. I mean, maybe it's not his style, but still, I mean, he's still beating people with swords and stuff. It's still just as violent. He's not sparing their lives. He's killing all these people. So, I mean, he's not a pacifist or anything. So I don't see why he's not grabbing guns or anything like that. But that's just a little pet peeve. I felt like that would make him a lot more efficient at what he does, to be honest. And here's one of the environmental kills, so you can use the environment against the enemies, and they're all not pre-arranged like that one. That one's kind of obvious. This is early in the game, so maybe we'll cut ahead here to some of the more challenging stuff here really quickly. So a little bit further ahead from where we were, not too far. This is still relatively early in the game, but this is the introduction of secret passages right there, which I didn't really find during the course of the game too often. They were few and far in between, or at least I didn't spot them easily. And I've also got a trident here. This is one of the weapons you can use. So there's a variety of weapons, but I felt like the throwing weapons like the trident, which were reusable, were a lot of fun. Here's another element of the game. This is the bullet time system. This actually slows down like bullet time when you're actually shot. So you don't trigger that on your own. You build that kind of Hotline Miami style with chain kills. You can see the orange meter. It just filled up. And once it's filled up, you pretty much have a get out of jail free card when it comes to getting shot. You can still die to things. Don't get me wrong. The big guys, if they punch you, it's a one-hit kill. Rockets and stuff. It's just bullets in general. Sometimes I've had even bullets still kill me. It just depends. And here's a fun part. This is another part where you have to, you can see I died there. You have to actually use a lot of random weapons and destroy the environment in order to complete this level, because if you use your fists here, it's going to be hard because these guys take 3 hits each on your fists. So there is a little bit of strategy here, but once you get the weapons down, boom, boom, they all die really quickly. But yeah, there's a lot of fun horde stuff in the early game. And in late game, it gets pretty wild. That looks pretty simple right there. That's just a bunch of minions spawning in a little flat room. But the environment begins to shift as you get later and later into the game. So just following along with this gameplay a little bit. So this part of the game was pretty satisfying. You know, you get to teleport around, you get to pick up weapons, you get to smack people around. The big guys aren't the most intimidating because you can really sneak up on them, but in a crowd, they could kill you, and that's the main bad guy there, Chairman Stone. So it's kind of a generic villain. He's not very memorable. I mean, he's got some quips and stuff, one-liners, but generally he's not really that big of a problem. The teleporting system itself, I haven't really talked much about that, but you are limited to 5 teleports. They come back pretty quickly. I would say they come back in a second or maybe a half a second even. But if you expel all 5 teleports, you know, really quickly, it's going to take a bit to charge up. And here's one of the environmental kills. You kind of bait that one in there. But I didn't bait this too well though, so I ended up dying. But you know, if I had my bullet time, I probably could have actually killed all those guys pretty easily, even without that little trick right there. It would have been okay, I think. So moving into that next area here. So you still got to get around some of this stuff. So the teleportation is obviously one of the things about that, and you can see here, blah blah blah. You gotta find a way into the rooms. Don't expel too many of your teleports. Don't get stuck on the wall like I did. So you can see there I'm out of teleports, and I probably don't even realize it. There we go. Now I realize. Now I'm out of teleports again, and guess what? Teleport didn't come back very quickly, but I got lucky there, didn't I? I got lucky, but either way, I got gunned down. Here's another fun part of the game, the little ragdoll system. It kind of lasts whiles after. A few other mechanics in the game, which I thought were kind of annoying, were these non-teleport zones. So it kind of hurts the gameplay, in my opinion, even though I understand why it's there. But you can see how the game changes in pace when you can't teleport like at all. So the introduction of this mechanic to kind of add more challenge to some levels is kind of a pain in the butt sometimes, because you really want to be teleporting around. It's more satisfying to teleport around than move around like you're in Hotline Miami. Even in Hotline Miami 2, you were able to roll and stuff, and this guy can't do anything when he's in the non-teleport zone, so he gets really sluggish and immobile when he's in this kind of stuff. And you can see here, I'm trying to figure out here how to get around this guy with the flamethrower. So, oh, it looks like I could teleport right there for some reason. I don't know. No, I guess I was just punching. So yeah, I can't. Obviously, you can't walk up that way. So you have to, improvise, which improvising in this game means punching through a wall. And it takes a little bit, but you can see you break those little things, and then you can teleport again. I don't think I realized right there that guy explodes after he dies. But yeah, you can see here where you can actually teleport a little bit, and then it switches on, and it kind of ruins the pace, but it changes the pace. So it adds more challenge. The non-teleport zone is coming all across the map, and you have to kind of slow the pace down in order to accommodate for that. So sometimes during this section here, you'll have to wait until you can teleport. Otherwise, you're just going to die to these guys, because you can't just walk up to them. Even if you got bullet time, it's not gonna last a bullet time. So you have to be careful and kind of pick and choose your punches here. So I thought that kind of broke the pace of the game a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. It added some challenge, added some puzzle elements. Now here's a mechanic that was really good, I felt. Towards the end of the game, stuff starts teleporting in on you rather than being static objects. So things end up appearing where normally they weren't before, so it gets pretty crazy. So it gets really chaotic, and these levels are by far the best. They added so much chaos, so much on your feet thinking. It was really fun. It was really fun playing these levels here. But yeah, Mr. Shifty, guys, if you're looking for a story-driven game, this is not it. If you're looking for a really satisfying kind of action game, this is a really good satisfying action game. And it's not really pricey either. I think it's like $15 on Steam, so it's not too bad. It might be on sale even right now, but yeah, I think it was worth it. It's not the longest game either. It's kind of, I would say maybe 3-4 hours, depending on how good you are at it, how many times you die. So yeah, it definitely doesn't last too long, but the ride is really enjoyable. I felt like it was worth every minute. So if they could make any improvements on the game, I think it would be the no teleport sections. I still understand why they did it. I still understand why. I just didn't like them. There's a few puzzle elements that kind of got me stuck, like the punching through the wall part. I did not see that coming. And the secret room part got me stuck a little bit longer than it should have, I think. But yeah, apart from that, it could use a better story. I think if they fleshed out this guy's history. He had no dialogue in the game. He was just a dot kind of silent hero character. So, a little bit more fleshing out, make him a less generic character. I kind of like the strong silent type myself, like Gordon Freeman. But still, I like a little bit of backstory too. I like a little backstory. As far as the backstory in the game, when it came to the story, it's something about a council. You got this girl talking to you, guiding you through stealing stuff. You got the bad guy, and I guess the description says this is like the most secure tower in the world you're going through. So yeah, and you're limited to a tower too. I know the stages are diverse and everything, but if you were more, world bound, going place to place, going through cities, going through different types of environments besides just a tower setting, they have a lot of room to work with if they ever make a sequel, and I hope they do make a sequel, because this was still a lot of fun. The gameplay aspect is perfect that gameplay aspect. Nice controls, nice nice gimmick with the teleport. Very satisfying. So yeah, if they improve those few things, I think it'll be perfect. So for now, I would just give it, if I do like 5-star ratings, which Netflix got rid of, I would give it a 4.5 out of 5 because there is room for improvement. But I still think it's a really good game. It takes like what Hotline Miami did and improves upon it in its own way. It's got the Hotline Miami feel, but it's distinct in its own way. So you got your typical FPS shooters out there. They all play kind of similar, but they all have their own feel. This is just like that. This has its own feel compared to Hotline Miami. If Hotline Miami is like CS, this feels more like COD. I guess that's not a really nice comparison. I think COD's a little dumbed down compared to CS:GO. How about the that's an unfair comparison, but it's still pretty good. It's got its own special feel, is what I'm trying to say. So 4.5 out of 5 stars. Very fun game. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you next time.